What would you do if you lived in a haunted house? YouTuber Charles Larita and the Mischief decided to film it. He posted this video in June of 2011, writing, "My house is seriously haunted, and I'm still freaked out about this." In the video, he claims he always hears noises coming from his room, even when there's no one there, and while he's in his room, he feels a strange presence. After setting up a camera at night with the lights on, he discovered something strange around 2 hours into the footage. Here's what he found. The video shows a shot of the room, somewhat unfocused, with a chest of drawers, a black guitar case leaning up against it, and a door. After a moment, the light on the chest of the drawers starts to shake back and forth slightly. Something falls off the top of the chest, and then the door to the left swings close with exactly no one in sight. Many in the comments are freaked out by this bizarre clip, with BTS Nelly Thickums writing, "Move out of that house." Others agree they would have hightailed it out of that place. What would you do if this was your home? I'm not sure if a low-key jump scare is even possible, but I think I might have found one.
So what are you girls doing up there? Talking to you?
The dog looks over because if you look closely, its ear actually moves on its own, or more accurately, like it was grabbed by an invisible hand. The woman claims this was a ghost caught on camera, pulling her dog's ear, but I guess they could have tied a string around the ear. Here's a screenshot of the exact moment it happened, at 4 seconds to help us better decide. Look at this small strip and tell me if this was a string or part of the dog's ear. I'm leaning towards fake on this one. It wouldn't be hard to tie a little piece of string around the fur, but with that said, I would appreciate any help confirming this analysis. Shared by Redditor AlarmDad5309, this video looks ominous when you click on it, but you have to watch closely to see why. Did you see it? Watch again. This time, keep an eye on the shelf with the mirrors. A candle suddenly lights up, and it stays lit through the remainder of the minute-long video. Is this proof of a spiritual presence? Some in the comments think so. Some think the cat is a fire starter, but I think it sees something that we cannot. Hungry for a midnight snack? This video will get you over your nighttime hunger. Published to YouTube in August of 2020, Paranormal Nightmares explains, "My husband got up to grab a bowl of cereal, and we had the security cam recording in our kitchen because earlier in the day a cupboard opened on its own. We decided to record overnight, but this happened and it scared him." In the video, the dude is nonchalantly making himself a bowl of cereal as mentioned, but when he goes to grab the milk from the fridge, the cereal box moves clear across the counter on its own. Surprised, the man brushes it off, but as he pours his milk, the box moves slightly, and when he returns to the fridge, it slides clear across the counter again, finally falling to the floor. Needless to say, this guy takes this as his cue to book it out of the kitchen. Many YouTubers advise this poor haunted couple to move, while others are more worried about whether or not the guy eventually got his cereal, because you know, priorities. This is apparently police dash cam footage from Arizona. The officer is clearly on highway patrol at night, and after a short while, he takes a turn down a dirt road. This is where he spots a woman standing alone in the road with some small embers near her feet. Though it originally appears she is standing with her back turned to the police officer. Soon after, she lifts up her arms. and there appears to be two glowing eyes facing the officer. The footage ends shortly after with no further explanation. I searched but couldn't find any footage of the incident after this part, so we may never know what happened next to this officer or this woman with glowing eyes. This giant flat creature is actually a beached oarfish laying on its side. A confirmed bystander pushes it back into the water with her paddle, which could be a mistake because it proceeds to head directly for the person holding the camera.
Oh my god.
Although it seems more concerned with getting away than taking a bite, this is still not an animal that I would want to have anywhere near me, especially in such shallow waters. It almost seems to make eye contact as it passes directly under her feet before straightening out and swimming away. A man from Sri Lanka incites panic in the sky when he announces that he is going to take himself out, along with everyone else on the plane. The pilot makes an emergency landing in Melbourne, Australia, where a special police unit boards the flight. It looks like they are going to grab this man's ankles to forcibly remove him, but they reach past him to retrieve a mysterious black bag left behind by the person responsible, who has already been taken into custody. The man was threatening everyone with a device, which later turns out to be nothing more than a large Bluetooth speaker. The man was eventually taken to a mental health facility. It's worth mentioning that this was the same Malaysia airline that had a plane go missing over the Ukraine years ago, so they really were not taking any chances this time. A police officer is patrolling a long stretch of country road when something suddenly almost causes him to swerve into a ditch. It's hard to see what happened, but when you slow the video down and play it frame by frame, you can see a transparent figure step directly into the police officer's path. Look closely and you can just make out the slender outline of a head and a body. It almost looks like the small frame of a woman. The figure passes through the car without damage, and the police officer makes a 3-point turn to go back and investigate. As he crawls forward, he sees nothing. The road is empty and the night scenery is silent. Anatoly Slivka was actively taking lives in the Soviet Union between 64 and 85. During these 2 decades, he fantasized about and recreated an event that he'd witnessed when he was in his early 20s. He'd seen someone drive into a group of pedestrians and take one of their lives, a teenage boy wearing a young pioneer's uniform. Thereafter, he sought out boys to recreate the scene. This was easy, being as he ran a children's club. After befriending a boy who was always on the shorter side, he would convince him to wear the young pioneer's uniform and be part of a controlled hanging experiment that he said would stretch their spines. He claimed he would revive them, but that was not the case. He took 7 lives this way, although he had done this to far more people, 43 in all. 36 actually were revived. All were filmed and photographed throughout the disturbing so-called experiments, and the footage was developed in Slivka's home laboratory. Slivka was arrested for his actions in 1989, and shortly after had his own life taken as punishment. Good riddance to a horrible person. Better do it just to be safe. Published by Scary Chills G, this short clip was captured in May of 2010. A man is on his computer facing his webcam when behind him on the bed, his jacket moves. As he turns to look, suddenly his wardrobe bursts open on the other side. He springs from his seat and goes to check it out, seemingly finding nothing. He turns back toward his computer and then sprints from the room in fear, without further explanation. What did he see there? Or was he afraid of what saw him? Alright, I know that My Little Pony is not exactly the most frightening thing on earth, but pay less attention to the brand of the toy and more attention to what it's doing by itself without being touched. I guess the obvious explanation is that someone is underneath the table using a magnet, and a lot of people say the same thing. However, here's another video showing that there is no magnet on the bottom of the toy, so no one knows for certain. When a scary video isn't self-explanatory, it's time to break out some armchair detective work. But even if you're Sherlock or Enola Holmes, you'll have a tough time connecting the dots of this video. Published to YouTube in March of 2012, Ghosts Are Real 66 writes, "Been taking video of local cemeteries for a while and examining them from frame to frame. Found the image of what looks like a ghost of a young boy from around the early 1900s by the way he is dressed. The video was taken at Kinder Cemetery, established in 1902. While scanning some tombstones at a distance, a distinct flash is caught on camera. While zooming in, you can make out a figure, although you can't really distinguish its dress. YouTuber Manly says that he's wearing suspenders and a white shirt, but that's up for interpretation. Some think it's a reflection in a car window, others are sure it's the paranormal, and I'm leaning towards the latter." Paranormal investigator Rochelle G goes exploring this haunted abandoned house and experiences what she calls decades of anger. Built in 1920, this place could never keep a family for more than a few years before something terrible happened to them. Police were always involved. Something about this house makes people upset, volatile. The longer they stay here, the worse it gets. Rochelle can feel the paranormal energy as soon as she sets foot within this haunted place. Abandoned are the families, but not their memories or their presence. She finds a room that's creepier than the others, one that's been barricaded from the inside. Listen closely. What you're about to hear is one of the scariest EVPs ever caught on camera. Somebody has pushed a dresser under the knob of this door, like they wanted to keep a family member from coming in to get them. When Rochelle opens the door, a creepy, disembodied voice floats in her ear and whispers, "Hey." This room looks like a remodeled front porch that was only halfway finished before the family vacated. Above her is an unfinished attic space that makes many people feel creeped out. There's no way to get up there, so she keeps exploring this room and finds more creepy things caught on camera. Dozens of family photos next to an old blue chair. Leaving family photos is weird enough, but why in a giant unorganized pile? It looks like somebody thumbed through them, one by one, while sitting on the chair, perhaps looking at pictures of their family members one last time, while waiting for the police to arrive. It's a creepy thought and we'll never know the real explanation, and when Rochelle tries to communicate, the spirits are too angry to cooperate.
Do you need help?
If this video is real, and I think it is, then this is one haunted abandoned house that should have stayed hidden. I doubt anything good happens to those who dare go exploring its hateful walls. While this doesn't look like your classic unidentified flying object, it certainly is one. Published by Arte Morbid in April of 2022, this scary video captured something hovering over a street in Mexico City. Security camera footage shows a dark object floating down the center of the street about a foot above the pavement. While the uploader thought it was a mylar balloon at first, a closer look had him second guessing. He notes that it has a shadow and sometimes moves in a slight rotation. Some of the comments still think it's a mylar balloon or a drone. Others think it's CGI. One commenter says it looks like it's morphing in and out. Do you have any other theories? I think there's certainly something mysterious going on here. In the moment, you might not catch some unexpected apparition appearing around you. It's only when you play that moment back that you find it. Published by William Villas in September of 2013. He writes in Malay, "This video was filmed on August 3rd, 2013 when we were waiting for the troops to have a video clip that was still unavailable. The video shows a group of men sitting and talking in the darkness. They appear to be sitting in a stairwell as they laugh, completely oblivious to what's going on around them. You see a girl dressed in white with long black hair and shoulders hunched forward pass by slowly at the top of the stairway. The men must not have noticed in the moment as they continue on as usual, but they sure must have gotten the scare of their lives when they watched this clip back later on, only to make this mysterious and unexpected discovery. Once you see the apparition, you watch it again, over and over, because you can't look away from it. This video is of what appears to be a parent filming their child looking into a mirror. Everything initially seems like a normal clip, but things soon take a dark turn as the child turns to look at the parent, but his reflection does not follow. If you look closely, the boy's eyes in the reflection are now pure black momentarily, followed by bizarre head movements until the reflection once again matches the boy. This either has to be paranormal or elaborate editing. I'm leaning more towards the paranormal due to the sporadic head movements of the reflection, because it appears too fluid to be edited. Either way, I'm pretty confident you will regret having to look into a mirror after seeing this video. The San Antonio Cemetery in Texas could be one of the scariest places in the world to go exploring if this video is real. A ghost hunter from the Paranormal Journal stands in total darkness when some creepy things are caught on camera, and despite the lack of light, what he experiences is downright terrifying. His paranormal equipment detects movement, and then a single word crackles across the spirit box in an odd staticky voice. He never shows us exactly where he positioned the motion detection equipment, so it could be detecting his movement or a gust of wind for all we know. But here's something weird. If you look closely, there is a strange phantom light at 29 seconds, the same moment that the motion detection alarm goes off, that soon fades away. I would say there's another investigator, but I think that he might have been exploring the haunted cemetery all alone that night. If so, I have no idea what this light is, and even if it was a member of his team, that still doesn't explain the odd voice moments later that says hello. Things get loud in this Poltergeist Paradise. Posted to TikTok, the original footage is from Dark Ghost Paranormal. In the clip, someone is wandering through a clearly haunted house. You can hear repeated banging before you can see the creepy poltergeist in the act. The culprit in the kitchen cupboard, whose door is banging over and over again. It seems like it will never end, but all of a sudden it stops. As the person steps into the kitchen, a deep gong is heard from another direction. They whip around and are looking toward a refrigerator, but there's nothing there. Although there's thankfully no jump scare, there's certainly something going on in this Poltergeist Paradise. What would you do if a poltergeist became more and more aggressive? Published by D-Dog Michael in January of 2022, this scary video follows this paranormal explorer through an abandoned building. Michael first encounters some unsettling sounds like bottles trembling. He thinks it's just the wind at first, but the sound becomes louder and more aggressive. This makes him run back downstairs. As they continue to explore, a window panel slides open, and later he hears regular banging noises in the hallway. When he goes to investigate, the banging noises get louder and more frequent. As he approaches a door, he asks the spirit if he can go in and look around, but the spirit seems to answer in the negative.
저 잠깐만 들어가도 될까요? 사람...
He runs off but returns to the same door, and as he's reaching toward the knob, he hears something inside. Finally, inside the room, there doesn't appear to be anyone around, but he hears another sound. Out in the hallway again, he reaches for a second door, and a loud noise is heard behind him.
우리 얘기를 합시다.
Later, he is in a dark bathroom when chaos again breaks out behind him.
잠깐만요.
He continues into a bedroom, and then he sees this shape in the window.
안으로 들어가 보시.
Michael decides it's time to leave this place before whatever haunts it won't let him go. All of the other rooms of this abandoned church on Long Island look normal, yet the chandeliers on the middle floor are going crazy. Jay Brannon claims to have seen shadow figures all over this video too, so be sure to tell me if you happen to see them. Just the fact that he isn't willing to go inside at all shows exactly how creepy this situation really must have been. The lights continue to go on and off. For some reason, at the 3-minute 35-second mark, they seem to get even more intense, almost like they are feeding off his mortal energy just from standing so near. He returns the next day to prove that this church really was abandoned and no longer in service. After all, no active church would leave their courtyard in such a state of disarray. But that's not all. Jay Brannon did some major research on this church and discovered that it had 3 separate fires and was struck by lightning twice. He provides the links in the description of the video so you can read them for yourself. Maybe these flickering lights were caused by one of the spirits from the cemetery next door. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.